Yo, what is up, everybody? I'm here with Jan Collex. I've got one of the killer German YouTubers on with me today. Dude, I saw this guy's content pop up. I was like, who's this famous influencer talking about TV? And then I see that he's like up and coming. I see how good his content is. And I was like, dude, you're interviewing some of the best people out there. You're really dedicated to it. You got really high quality in what you're doing. And, I don't have a big platform anymore, but I'm like, I just want to make sure people know who you are. And I think you're really intelligent and have a lot of great insights. So I was like, let's get you on and let's have a chat, man. How are you doing?
Thanks, man. I'm really pleased to be here today. But I have to say, like your titling made me feel like a little celebrity.
We're all little celebrities in here.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Yeah, it's good to see you, dude. We got some people here. Just really excited. So awesome to have you back. You're one of my favorites. Let's go. We got some fire signals. People are like, when Taps? I don't know. I haven't seen Taps in years now, like 2 or 3 years. But dude, I was just super interested because you're across international waters. You're in Germany.
Yeah.
And I'm like, was it a German YouTuber that pulled you into Vivi? Like, how did you find out about it?
I found out about it through Gary V, honestly, because not because he mentioned it, because he was like in the beginning of 2021, he was like, okay, so when the biggest brands of the world like Disney, Marvel, etc., come on the blockchain, this will be huge. And then I don't actually know how I found it. I found Omi first. That's what I know. And then through Omi, I found Vivi, and then I got hooked.
Wow. So when Gary V said that, did you see people from Vivi make comments?
No.
Okay.
It was way too early. I guess it was in February 2021.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, so you were one of the OGs then. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't able to buy all the cool stuff in the beginning because I started collecting, or my account on Vivi is 26th of April, maybe 24th. I don't know exactly. So yeah, at the beginning I was kind of skeptic and didn't buy anything. So yeah, I missed all the big pieces at the beginning for quite cheap.
Wow, it's so crazy because there was such a small window. Like I joined, I think it was in late February or March of 2021. So I was like a month and a bit maybe before you. And if you were just a month earlier than me, like early February, you would have been buying Rizzo from the store. You would have been buying Harley Quinn 19 from the store. I joined when you could buy Todd from the store.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you were right after, like you were like just post Nightwing, I think, right?
Yeah, but at the beginning I didn't buy anything, so I don't know actually what it was a comic. My first drop was a comic, but I don't know which one. And I also missed Marvel Comics #1. I didn't participate because you have to know I'm not a collector. I wasn't a collector, and now through Vivi I definitely got into collecting physical stuff a little bit more. So as you can see, I have few things in the background. So for me the journey started digital.
Good for you. And what made that transition? Like what finally got you into gear where you're like, man, I think I'm going to start collecting now? Like what was that thing that made it change? Was it the value proposition?
In the beginning, I have to honestly say, Vivi, I thought I could make a lot of money with Vivi short term. Like I would say a lot of people in the beginning. And it was like it, right? I mean, I've bought like the C3PO for $60, and it went up for like 5,500, 6,000 or so. So, yeah, wow. I mean that was the reason in the beginning, but now it's definitely the community, because as you said in the introduction, I'm from the German fam, and I would say the German fam is one of the bigger ones, and we had a couple of meetups and all that, and I met people I would have never met otherwise, and that's so great.
Wow, that's so interesting. And were the predominant YouTubers that you're watching initially English speaking?
Yeah, I have to say, I have to give him credit for that, but Cavell, I watched a lot of Cavell stuff. I
Cool.
mean, I was on the hype train. I have to admit it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He was great. I mean, he posted so frequently.
yeah,
He brought so much speculation and hype to the project.
yeah,
Even
absolutely.
actually, to be honest, I have to give him credit too, because my first ever Vivi video, I think it was like my second or third one. I might have had 3 or 4 subscribers max.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden he reposted my video on his, and then I got like maybe 120, 130 subscribers.
Okay, nice.
And that gave me enough motivation to continue with the channel.
Yeah,
So as much as people don't like the guy because he kind of like, got pessimistic at the end, he was so like action orientated. Like there was
yeah,
so many
absolutely.
people that started because of him,
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Guri saying, "What's up? Good to see you, man." Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
lots of people in here. People saying hi. That's good, man.
Don Juan Solo is one of my German collective friends from the German
Oh,
community. Yeah,
cool.
yeah. He makes these cool hoodies.
Wow. Let's highlight that guy, man. Is that his X name as well? Like, can people message him on X to get
Yeah,
a hoodie?
I guess so, right?
Yeah,
John,
yeah, yeah.
put it in the chat.
Yeah, put it in the chat, bro, and we'll highlight you. That's so cool. Man.
Yeah,
So so what is the like how many barriers do you think exist for people that are only German speaking in Germany? Like is it um rare to speak German and English, or is that kind of like the second language? Like I don't know
yeah,
enough, and
yeah, yeah.
but so tell me a little bit about that, because I wonder how many people in Germany might be interested but just don't have access to English.
So I would say like the younger people, I would say till 40, 45, most of them can understand English.
Mm,
And then there are different levels of understanding and speaking, but we have English in school from the 5th grade. Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Wow,
So
that's good. It's
most of the German people are able to speak English and understand it as much as you need.
Right. So that's what I understand, is that English is the most universally spoken language, but Mandarin Chinese is spoken by the
More
most amount of
people.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah. But that's so interesting because like it goes to show me that maybe Vivi is doing a good job of getting information out there if they're, predominantly English speaking. Like if it would have been like, I don't know, Urdu or something like that, maybe this project would have never taken float.
yeah,
Um, but is there something different about, being in Germany that you find than it being in America or like Canada or Australia? Like, is there something where you feel as though potentially like the drop times aren't synchronous to a schedule, or maybe there's not as much meetups or parties, or would you say like you guys are a big proponent of it?
can you clarify that question?
Yeah, sorry. I know it's I think the big thing would be like um do you feel as though like there's enough engagement from Vivi in Germany, or is it like
Nope, nope,
okay, okay,
definitely not.
yeah,
Because I would say we are one of the more active community out there, because
okay,
we had like 3 or 4 meetups organized by ourselves. And there were rumors that Vivi will come to one of the German game. Was it, which one was it? Was it Gamescom or so? But this didn't happen. So the German fan is a little bit disappointed.
yeah,
But
yeah,
even from like other events, there were a lot of German people. Last year there was one in France, and most of the people were German there. So
wow, that's
yeah,
pretty crazy.
we're kind of active. We're small but active.
Yeah, that's honestly what matters. Even if you're a smaller community, but you're highly engaged, you can do
Yeah,
way more things than somebody that's a huge community but are not engaged, right?
yeah,
We got a few people coming in here. So the real Hanano says, "Hey guys, great to see you both. I can finally catch a live that's not 4 a.m."
yeah.
That's actually so true. And we also have the man himself, the eloquent, articulate, chosen one here. We got Ben Rose saying, "I absolutely love Jan's content and hearing from VV fan voices from around the world." And look at him already putting in different little German tags here. I don't even know what that Guten tag, and I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
even.
Macht weiter so.
Oh, okay. So what does that mean then at the end?
We keep on doing it. So
Oh, that's
just
crazy.
keep on going, and we will, Ben. We will.
Oh, that's cool, man. Um, You know, so other people saying hello. Matt Murphy says on a roll, Chad, loving the discussions. Thanks for everybody being here, man. So here's I want to throw this at you, right? Because I'm just going to be quite frank. Like I've been doing content now, I've been back into it a little bit, and
Yeah.
I noticed that my views have gone down pretty like a lot, right? Like I used to get like maybe a few thousand views an interview, and now I get like a few hundred, right? And I also lose subscribers. But what's weird is that the core community that's here is really positive and optimistic and is a big, believer in the future. And I'm wondering, like, what you think. Do you think that we're kind of like, do you think this is going to fizzle out? Or do you think the opposite, where, we're just in a hard time right now and eventually people are going to be collecting way more stuff digitally and it'll start to blow up? What's your thoughts?
My thought is we are so niche with digital collectibles.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, crypto is still niche. And then there's digital collectibles. And I think like the hype is not there because no one sees JPEGs selling for millions. You know what I mean?
Right.
And also like the current market conditions or the worldwide market conditions are kind of unclear. So I guess it's too niche to have like a hype phase right now. But I'm kind of optimistic that the hype will come back when the whole crypto market comes back. If so,
right. And what do you think? Because I think we had this conversation before where I'm not sure if like the bull market is like done and we just had that like, because I think we had that nice peak in early 2024.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, was that it? And now we got to wait another few years? Or do you think maybe like this fall, I think you said maybe this fall you might see something trickle out again. What do you think?
First of all, I have to say I'm as smart as everybody else here. So I could be 100% wrong on this point.
Right.
But I guess you see so many positive catalysts right now involving in the back. For example, all of these central banks or most of these central banks adopting like Bitcoin. There will be an ETF or more ETFs in the US and countries buying Bitcoin and all that stuff. I think currently it might be that it's not clear what Trump's economy will look like. I think that that's the point why crypto is so I would say lame at the moment.
Yeah, that's a good point that you make. And I can just share some Canadian context because this is really affecting us like, like hard. So to give you an example, home prices here for your average home outside of our major city of Toronto, you're looking at about $1 million for just your regular detached home, right? And it's not even like, and I like, for instance, I commute into work an hour 50 and my house is worth around that, right? And that's like considered average. If they also introduce these massive tariffs on like steel, aluminum, and everything like that, the home prices will shoot up so much, including cars and manufacturing, that like inflation might get out of hand for us, where like your average working person will not be able to afford a basic lifestyle. And I think that's where like a lot of my friends and everything are like, hey, well, I'm not going to screw around by having 50K in crypto right now. I'm going to throw that in my savings account for a rainy day. And I think, maybe globally, that's kind of what's happening. Because when Trump came in, man, that Bitcoin was like 111,000 and now it's down into the 80s, right? So I'm like, I think you could be right. Like, I think we had more clarity on what's happening and the whole Doge thing. Potentially people would be like happy to reinvest, but
But I mean, the downturns are normal in crypto, right? I mean, from 111 to 80, it's like roughly 25%. That was the same in the last bull run. So it's not that different. I mean, the 4-year cycle doesn't play out at the moment, but I mean, even if it's in half a year or 3 to 9 months and the market gets like stabilized, I could see that, but I
hear you. It's hard to predict, right? And I mean, even in 2021, I mean, I never predicted some of those price points, but when it happened, for whatever reason, I was like, it's just going to keep on going, like you get into these weird.
Yeah, me too.
You get into this weird mentality,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
yeah.
back to the home prices. It's the same in Germany. Not that expensive, but I guess we are also earning less than you guys over there. So, for example, 50 to 75,000 a year is a really good income in Germany. So
Right.
yeah, so and like for a normal home, you have to pay at least 500,000. So if I want to buy a home, I'm not able to buy a home. Or I have to like um, um, get into debt for like 30 years or so, and that's not worth it for me personal.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
That is actually an interesting point because there's so much upkeep on a house that you're paying for like all these other things other than just like the actual mortgage expenses that like it
yeah,
is unless you have like a huge unless you know it's going to appreciate tremendously, it does become a huge burden, right? So and that's where, bro, when I look at these digital assets and I look at some of these price points, right? Like I think I was talking to Pixel Trader who's here right now. He's saying loving the convo. We were talking about all these first appearances on the blockchain, like Woody and
yeah,
like Elsa, and even your C3PO that's come down pretty drastically. And it's like, what's the risk of spending like 80 bucks or 80 gems? And, 10 years from now, if this whole thing catches fire again, there's only, 12,000 editions of the first appearance of, let's say, C3PO.
yeah,
It seems like a lot in the current market conditions. But I mean, if you look at the Pokemon market, because I'm in that as well, dude, there's, I think, hundreds of billions of cards now that have been printed.
yeah,
And like, it seems like it's at a peak, like it's at an all-time high in terms of like the interest for it. And I'm like, there's probably, hundreds of millions, maybe not that much, maybe like tens of millions of people that are completely involved in this market. And I'm like, I just feel as though as digital technology evolves, that physical market is not going to be as interesting. Like a trading card, give me a break. Like what we're seeing now with all the stuff that you can do digitally and that Pokemon app that they started, like it just seems like the natural transition is to go digital. But I feel like the majority of the population is still in this physical kind of thing,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I see it kind of the same, but I
Okay.
would say like the physical stuff will always have a place. I think the digital just gives collectors more and new opportunities. And if you look into the future with all the wearables and the digital overlay over your normal reality, I think then digital collectibles will be really, really interesting because then you can showcase them way better. Even with the Veveverse, it's a totally different showcasing of your collection.
Mhm.
So I guess this could be a great catalyst also when like the digital collecting becomes more of a bigger thing, because we have to be honest, it's still so niche.
Yeah. Wow, that's a good point that you make. And here's one that I'm interested. Okay. So when we look at like age and demographic data, like when I look at people that have like, let's say, collected comics physically, right? Like
Yeah,
Sleep in Comics and these guys, I'm just throwing this out there and I could be wrong, but I find the majority of those collectors are just a tad older than me. They're like 40s and 50s because that's kind of what they grew up with. I grew up with like cards, Pokemon
yeah,
cards, Digimon cards, right? So that's what more my interest. And the thing is that now when they go digital, there's less people in those age brackets, like 50, 60, that are like consuming like those things digitally, right?
yeah,
And so then my thinking is like there's going to be this perfect recipe where like maybe kids that are brought up with like the digital stuff, like Vivi, let's say, in
yeah,
30 years from now, they might be willing to drop 60, 70,000 on some of these items because that's what they grew up with, similar to how these comic guys have transitioned over. Like, I
yeah.
don't know, but I just feel as though there's like a phase out point. Like like, there's just a lot to think about there, but what do you think about that? Do you think that's like makes sense?
I think digital collecting is already a big thing, not in the form of NFTs, so not on the blockchain. But
Ah,
look at Fortnite, look at Counter Strike, look at whatever big game. I mean, their accounts are traded because of the stuff in there, and roadblocks like the worlds are like huge, and I see that coming for Vivi as well, because what
wow.
what some people are building is so impressive.
I love this point though, because it means that like people are already adapted to this technology.
Yeah,
They just not gone as far as call it an NFT or a digital collectible, or
yeah,
they're looking
exactly.
at the blockchain, but they're like you said, it's, and I think Pixel Trader talked about the same thing where he's like, there's so much people that are spending like millions of dollars on this stuff.
What you mean? But
Yeah.
to his point, with the trading and the in-person experience, I think that could be happening in the Veveverse. Not yet, but maybe in 1.5, 2 years. I don't have an idea how fast things evolve in this space, but I could see that happening.
Yeah, that would be really cool, right? If we could do
So,
that.
yeah, that you have like little trading shows kind of thing inside someone's space or so.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen the comic shop from how are they called?
Oh, is it California Comics?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true, right? Like, so these are all things that are starting off. But I'm just like wondering, like in the VV verse, if you could like trade, like imagine this. Imagine you could start trading like your actual spaces, like things that you're creating. Like let's say like Collector's Gone Digital, that place that he made. Imagine he trades that for like 2 Miles Morales SRs or something. Like I wonder if there's like things like where like things just get like, oh, I'll build you this. Like almost like an electrician does your electricity, you got to pay him some money.
yeah,
Like, okay,
yeah.
you come over and you work on X, and then you know, like all of a sudden you have a working, functioning job in the Veveverse.
I
Uh,
mean, he already has.
he already has. I know.
Yeah, so I think that will be common. Even if the bull run comes back, I think there will be a lot of demand for people who are able to build like great showrooms.
Yeah. What do you think the effect of seasons is on collecting, digital collecting? Like I just find this, but like every cycle is like November to March or even February is like the key parts because people are at home. It's colder for the most part in most places in
Yeah,
the world. You know, they're inside, there's Christmas time, there's more like I just always find this. And then come this summer, it's like a drop off. And then you, if you're lucky, you start reinvesting in August, then you like kind of nail it. You can do like July to August is usually when I reinvest, and then
yeah.
I watch it all grow back in like October, November. But like, do you think that's a huge proponent, like these macro conditions that affect like collectability?
Yeah, I guess so. I That's all I can say to that question, honestly. Because isn't it so that in April or so in the US there is like the tax season, so a lot of companies and stuff sell all their stuff so that the market goes down. I've heard that. I'm not
Yeah,
sure,
you're right. You're right. That's like,
but
yeah,
I mean, even physical collectibles have like some kind of cycles, right?
yeah,
And if I look at myself in the summertime, I'm way more outside and care about other stuff than hanging on my phone or so.
right. I just find it interesting now because, you know, if you really love an item, like let's say a partner statue and you buy it at 1,000 gems and it just continues to depreciate, you know, despite it having like monumental significance. And if you're convicted and you think this will be a huge asset one day,
Yeah,
I don't really meet collectors often that don't want things that they have to appreciate in value. Like usually when you're buying something, you want it to maintain its value or
yeah,
go up, right? And it's like as much as like, you know, collecting to collect, like in collecting what you love, which is the slogan, I do think there's an element there where it's like, hey, like if I'm going to collect this, like my, you know, I want this to be useful. I want this to kind of like be a store of value or whatever. And maybe this market or this niche thing that we're talking about isn't at that level yet. And no, it's very speculative. It's very
it's
like, I
too
don't know.
volatile at the
Yeah.
moment for this, I would say. But
Yeah.
I guess we would all be liars if we wouldn't say we wish that our stuff goes up, right?
Yeah.
So I think it depends on the significance of the piece, I guess. But if you buy something for 1,000 and it drops down to like say, let's say 100, obviously that's a shitty feeling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. How big of a role do you think influencers played in kind of creating or like paying attention to certain grail items? And then how much do you think that like without influencers, potentially those same grails would be still true? So for instance, like I'll give you an example, right? Like am a big supporter of like Miles Morales, and we have like the High Club,
Yeah.
and you know, and like maybe like I'm not saying that I did anything for that. Like I don't even want to put myself into that hat. But I'm saying like, you know, if everyone's believing like Todd is something that is really important to her partner statue, um, do you think that that's like kind of a natural, organic way that the community is now propping up items that people, you know, feel as valuable as a whole? Or do you feel like not manipulation, but people are like, oh, you need to buy this because this is like, we think this is valuable.
Yeah.
Like how much are, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's kind of both. I mean, there
Yeah.
are some pieces that are definitely just because of the piece. So the miles, the partners, the Todd because it's like the first one and all that stuff. I think that's reasonable that those are grails. But
Yeah.
also, I believe that influencers and people in the space play a significant role on how other people see it. Because if you look back, I mean, back in 2021, I've watched like, let's say, 8 to 9 VV channels. And if everybody on those channels said, this collectible is a grail, I was like, yeah, they're probably right. So you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know collecting. I have to be honest. Have
Mm.
not the biggest knowledge about collecting. That's why I've opened up my YouTube channel, because I want to speak to people who know collecting so I can learn from them, you know?
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, that's interesting. I was always a physical collector. So like you know, I was collecting since I was like a young person. And there's all these principles that I guess like my friends, folks kind of like, and you know, inform me at a young age. But like sometimes I find in life, like there's things that other people won't see.
Yeah.
But if you see it before they do, then there's huge opportunity. And I feel as though like that's where even in this current market with the scarcity and the edition sizes, like I'll give you an example. Like in 2006, Pokemon was at an all-time low. And
Yeah.
so the printing was at an all-time low.
Yeah.
And now a lot of those cards are like crazy numbers, like, you know, hundreds. Yeah, some of them getting into the hundreds of thousands of dollars for like the, you know, CGC 10 or whatever, or PSA 10.
Yeah.
And so like I kind of think about that, like you know, is there things right now that you're eyeing that potentially like may have some huge thing, or like, you know, other collectibles that people aren't talking about? Like are you looking in the
Not specifically. There is like one collectible I would love to own, but I have to be honest. I've over leveraged myself a little, so
yeah
I don't have liquidity at the moment, so I can't buy it.
yeah
And it's the self-made piece. You know, the wooden statue of how Pinocchio,
yeah
where he carves himself out of the wood. I
yeah
love that piece. That looks so great. And the message behind that piece is also really nice. And obviously, I would love to own a partner statue or like a full set of golden moments. But yeah, it is how it is. I'm not able to get it, and maybe I will get it in the next bear market then.
Yeah, wow, that's really cool. It's a few people that have said self-made to me. Like I've heard it a few times now from different
It looks
people.
so cool.
Yeah. This is the kind of stuff that I love though, because when there's less interest, like you can start to make these calculated decisions on things that you think are important. And
Yeah.
like if there's another rise, you know, who knows where that goes, right? Um, so Greece says, I have a thought on what Jan said. Everyone wishes the value of our stuff goes up. The floor value is not the value of the collectible. Yeah. So that's an important point. You know, when you see these floors, especially in scarce items, you know, what they're actually selling for might not actually be what the floor is.
Yeah.
And so I think like, you know, we're maybe overestimating the value of the VV collections because you see in your vault, oh, it's worth X amount. And you're like, oh, I've got all this money. And when you start to sell it, you know, you might not be getting those price points. But conversely, if you have like special mints, it may be worth a lot more than the floor, right?
Yeah. What is your opinion on like low mints? Because
Yeah.
I have a couple, like for example, I have Superman. What is it? 245 or so. I'm not sure about that, but not that high of a mint. What's your opinion on mint numbers and the relevance of it if we get another bull run and more users into VV?
Yeah. So I just want to say, you know, I was one of the first people to put some of that information out actually on that stuff, and that was the video that Cavell
Yeah,
retweeted at
yeah,
me, right, or reposted, and it was just a thought, but I was thinking about like low mints, like you know, like the closer you are to 40 or whatever it was, would be, you know, potentially perceived as more value just because it stands out. Like palindrome numbers, special mints, last mints. I think anything where people can stand out and you know, have something that's unique over somebody else is where you will like gain more value. So I feel as though like the first public mint, or the, you know, Lewis Morgan, when he was in there, the co-founder of Gymshark, he was huge into the sub 100s because he wanted to flex. He wanted to show
yeah,
people,
yeah,
I'm not just buying Batman. I'm buying like one of the best Batmans within this collectible that you can buy. So my thing is this: when there's a massive amount of concentration on one collectible, that's where literally all of these mint numbers and additions matter that much more, because people are trying to differentiate themselves
yeah,
within that scarcity. You know, so like
yeah,
I feel like that's where it gets interesting, and we saw a glimpse of that in that bull market last in 2021,
yeah,
22, where like I think I said this in another interview, but people would like literally be willing to spend like an extra $1,000 just to go down a few hundred
yeah,
minutes,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um,
I mean,
yeah,
it's social
yeah,
signaling, right? I
yeah,
mean, we all try to like signals through whatever we do, like the clothes we wear in real life, the car we drive, etc. So why should it be different in the digital world?
right. And it shows you how bad the human mind is. Eh? We always need
Yeah,
to stand. We always need to do better than
yeah.
somebody else. Man, we got a lot of people in here. So we got 105 people right now. So Chris Sever says, you know, looking good, gents. Felix says, hey, good to see you together.
Hi,
Everyone's agreeing.
Felix.
Is that another one of your boys?
Yeah, one of my boys from Germany.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
What's up, Felix?
I have an interview. He was the first interview guest on my channel because he is
Wow.
like one of the biggest MCP. How do you call it? The MCP. He believes in the
Wow.
MCP program so much. So if you want to have someone on your channel who knows like everything, I mean everything about the Master Collector program, talk to him.
Okay, Felix, man, if you got some time in the near future, let me know. That's good to know. And everybody, if you do not follow Yan Collects, go follow Collectively right there. It's in the description below. Also follow him on X. You know, guy's got amazing production quality, interviews some of the best people. As you can see, he's a stand-up dude, really knowledgeable. So make sure you give him a follow.
I would
Yo,
highly appreciate that because I'm currently at 251 subscribers, and that's great. Honestly, I'm thankful for
yeah,
everyone, but obviously, I would love to like get more people into my content because, as we've mentioned before, it's a lot of time that goes into that stuff, right?
it is. It is. And like, and I appreciate the way that you're doing it, because you're doing it so well and you're consistent. And like I said, like, you know, you're really taking your time and being meticulous about what's getting out there. And, you know, I don't think enough people do that in the space, including myself. Like, you know, I'm trying to say
Yeah.
sometimes it's like you said, you like lose out on the time, but everyone, like, if you're listening to this, make sure to give this guy a follow. Um, Chris,
Go back to the comment before because that was
yeah.
the that's exactly the collectible I've talked about.
Yeah, so this is the one here, self-made by Brett Crawford at Decon. So there you go. That's from New Tactics. So it's funny. So people are agreeing with you, man. That's a good one. Chris says, "Agree, Chad. Nobody floors special mints." Yeah, and then Mr. Champ says, "Mint numbers are garbage. Floor them all." So yeah, go if you don't believe in mint numbers, go floor them all so Mr. Champ can buy them up. Felix is saying, "Yeah, man, let's get doing this." Yeah, I think he's got a laughing face and a celebration face. So let's get it on.
Yeah, and he says later, pleasure, thanks, guys. So I would say he's open for it. You should
Amazing.
definitely talk to him. It's such a great conversation with him about the MCP. Honestly,
Yeah, and I think, you know, if I can't talk to him just yet, if everybody's interested, go check that conversation out. You can just subscribe below and then make sure you go to that first ever interview. Chris says, "Please do race ya for Mr. Champ." This is for the special mints. Your last video has me thinking about low mints. What's better, a low mint or one that has less transactions. So I don't know if you saw that, but Pixel Trader talked about like virgin mints. So
Yeah.
essentially you buy something from the store, it's never been touched, nobody ever has put hands on it or like digital hands, so to speak. And potentially in the future, if you have like a virgin Todd, first ever, DC NFT, first ever collectible on VV, etc., does that now become even more valuable because it's like, no one's touched it. It's from the friggin' store. Like, what do
Yeah,
you think about that?
I get that, but honestly, I don't have an opinion on that. Whatever I would say would be pure speculation. So I
Okay.
don't know. I honestly don't know.
I appreciate the honesty, brother. And look at this guy. Guru says, smash that like on YouTube. Man, tipping us. These should buy 2 eggs in today's market. Yeah, with 2 boiled eggs this morning, Guru. I appreciate that, brother. So what are you doing now, bro? Are you in the Veveverse a lot? Are you building?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's
Yeah.
that experience been like for you?
It's been tough at the beginning because I have to say I've never been a gamer or so. So all that I've built stuff in Sims and Roller Coaster Tycoon. So I always liked these building games, and the Veveverse is exactly that, but just on steroids. And
Okay.
honestly, you can do so much there. And I needed a little bit of time to like get a basic understanding, but now I'm totally hooked. I build like quite often when I have free time. So yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I don't know when my showroom will be like totally ready, but I had a first glance, is it glance? Like a
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
view into my showroom on Collectors Gone Digital's channel, like I would say 2.5 weeks ago. But there were no lights and nothing. It was like the raw showroom, I would say. But I'm hyped. Honestly, I love the Veveverse. It's so addictive if you're into building, right? But even if you're not into building, there's like the other aspect of exploring stuff, right? So I would say a lot of people will just go into different showrooms and explore collections, do like maybe there are little treasure hunts or so. I for example thought about. I mean, let me start different. So in the long run, I guess people who build like really amazing showrooms will have as much people in there as possible. So I think there will be a lot of creative ideas. For example, we've seen, I don't know, is it Casual who does these maze stuff?
Yeah. 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 I saw that.
Yeah. So that, for example, or you could do, you could build, for example, that was an idea I probably will try one day. You build a giant forest or so with rocks and stones, and then you do a hide and seek or whatever. So
Right.
just to get like people into your world and interact with the community. You can do so much stuff. At the moment, there are not the, I would say, tools for that, but it's still the beginning of the Veveverse. And as David said, was it a post today? I'm not sure about that, but he said it's the creator economy. And for a creator economy, you have to give those creators tools, because I think we have so many exceptional people inside of our and creative people inside of our community. If you give those people the right tools, they will build amazing and stunning worlds. I'm 100% certain of that.
Wow. Beautifully spoken, man. And I think you're totally right. What we've seen from people in such a short amount of time
Yeah,
has
exactly.
been breathtaking. Like I just saw that oceanside mansion with like the Lamborghini looking into like
Yeah,
this, and I'm like, what? People are building this within a matter of weeks, sometimes days,
yeah.
even hours in some cases. And
Wasn't there? So sorry to interrupt, but
no,
wasn't there like the first reveal of the first paid Viviverse space today or yesterday or
oh
so?
really?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know
Okay.
what. I don't know the name, but there was like the first paid reveal. Yeah,
I think I remember
maybe
this.
someone in the chat knows.
Yeah, if you know who that was, I think it could have been the one I was referring to potentially with like the huge mansion and the Lamborghini.
Yeah, with the Lamborghini, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like this massive, it looked like there's a mansion called The One in California, and
Hmm.
it's like this massive estate. It kind of reminded me of that. But like you said, and there was like a partner statue at the end, I think, of the video, like pretty crazy. There was like a swimming pool,
Yeah,
multiple
yeah.
swimming pools. Yeah.
But that's another thing. So if I compare my showroom to that showroom, it's not even close as impressive. I have to say that. But um, my thought process is like, it's a digital world, and do I want to build like homes that look like none like the normal homes we have in the real world, or will I go like a little more creative, as you can
Mm.
say it like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe you can build so many structures that are not like in the real world. I don't know how to say it better.
Yeah. No, that
Yeah,
makes good sense. Like, why are we trying to be boring and just keep everything like it already is in the physical? Like, why
yeah,
not go crazy and make something more fun or different or interesting that, like, I love one of my favorite things to see is when it's like very dark and then I see a collectible like that's like blacked out and they just put one light
yeah,
like
yeah.
underneath it.
Yeah. Here, Collectors Gone Digital showed
It
you
showed
that,
us
right?
that.
That was really cool. Yeah,
Yeah, and he did it in real time and I'm like, that to me is like where you could just show something off at such a high level, right? It's like,
yeah,
so there's
exactly.
and I feel like you said it best, people are going to continue to like figure things out that is going to be like even more interesting and be like, oh my god, I didn't even know we could do that, or like somebody had this idea. We're a huge community of people,
Yeah,
like it's like a bee's hive mind. Everyone's just like working to get smarter, you know?
absolutely. But we need the tools. And
Yeah.
yeah, he was right. The mention of Master Roni. And don't
Okay.
get me wrong, that one was incredibly made. That was awesome and looked great.
Yeah.
Not just to confirm, not that people think I'm hating on it. That was just like my opinion. I build like not real houses kind of thing
Yeah.
at the
Yeah. Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And your buddy Felix says, building will be an interesting industry in the VV-verse itself in the
Yeah,
future. It's true,
exactly.
man. People pay crazy, unique stuff in the VV-verse. Yeah, it's true, right? Like those one of ones now. Like, let's say you come into my place and I've got a one of one. No one else in the entire ecosystem can get that.
Yeah.
And you blow it up in a way that like you can see the details and everything.
Social signaling
It's
again.
social signaling, right? Like nobody's going to screw with me because they'll be like, oh, Chad has a one of one. But here's
Yeah.
kind of a hack that I think people aren't thinking about right now. You know, all these burns that they've been doing with
Yeah.
these comics,
Yeah.
dude. Like some of these comics that I'm seeing that are getting burned, they have like let's say only 1,000 editions bought up, and like only 6 of the secret rare were actually like opened.
Yeah.
And in my
Yeah.
head, I'm like, if you got one, let's say on the drop, and then you look at the market and there's one left, you just buy it. Like you might be the only person as well with that. Then it's only like 80 gems or something. Like, what do you think about that? Like, should people start thinking like about all
I
these
think
scarce
people
items?
oversee that,
Yeah,
myself included. Myself included. I haven't thought about that in detail just before you said it right now. So
yeah,
I'm one of the people who oversees that. Yeah,
yeah. Because I'm just thinking like if we're trying to stand out here, and you still have like a comic from like I don't know the Golden Age or the Silver Age, it's got 7 or 8 editions as a secret rare. No one else is thinking about it. Like, man, you could just and then you could also, especially if you have other high end collectibles with it, you drag people in to see the I don't know the partner statue, and then you
yeah,
finesse them to go check out this. And they're like, oh, what's that? And you're like, oh, well, this is there's only 6 of these, and then who knows? It may take on a new life of its own. You know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look
Definitely.
who's Mr. MC1 ETH is in the house. Hey guys, what's up, big guy?
Hey,
Um,
Sanjay.
you had a great interview with him too, man. I
I
watched.
loved it. It was so valuable for me, and I guess for a lot of people. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a big one, man. He shares so much value every time I chat with him, and like he's getting smarter by the day too. You didn't think he was smart enough, you know? I love his background too. I don't know if you've seen it, but he's got like the TV in the huge room, and like I'm like this guy's, I know he's serious.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah.
He's liking this interview too, man. That's great. Thanks, man, for being here today. Who are you looking to interview next? Like, who's somebody on your radar that you're like, I need to interview this guy or girl, like
Sean.
from Comics and Crypto?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Man, I feel so bad what happened with Kevin, man. He was such a good guy. He was so, I don't know, happy-go-lucky, so warm every time I
I've never
chatted.
met him, so I don't know about that. But I mean, I've
Yeah,
read a lot of stuff, a lot of nice things about him on X. So yeah, that's really sad. Yeah.
it's sad because it's like, even Silicon, but the only thing I would say what's amazing about this community is these guys will live on now.
Yeah.
You think about their impact in this community and it's like, man, in like 5 years from now, we'll still be bringing them up about this and that. And remember this, like even Silicon, like I talk about him all the time. And when he passed, I actually stopped my YouTube channel for a bit. I just was like, I like lost the inspiration because I was like, he was a big reason as to why I like the channel grew too, because of all the amazing things that he said, So it's hard, man.
Yeah. Sometimes life sucks, right?
It does. So New Tactic says in 1 year when people build bigger spaces, it would make sense if you could donate for the creators' time and effort and enjoy visiting their world. That's cool, man.
Yeah, but I think that's like a normal evolution of this stuff, right? I think
Yeah.
that will happen.
Do you think like you could even like charge for a space? Like for instance, like, hey, come hang out, like, I mean, not that I'm anybody, I'm a nobody, but like, let's say I say, come and hang out at NFT Pirate Space. It's 1 gem entry for like an hour or something. And you come
Yeah,
hang out
why
with
not? I mean, I
Yeah.
can see like events happening in the Veveverse, right? So,
Yeah.
for example, we both could do the same thing inside of my space or your space, and invite people to come in and do like an open Q&A session or so.
Right.
For example, right?
Yeah.
And then we can say, okay, for everybody who's attending, 1 gem, 5 OMI, whatever.
Yeah, that's smart, man. You're right. And that's the natural evolution. Look at this. Somebody just tipped some money. It says current Pokemon trading card game hype equals early VV hype days. Yeah. That's exactly what it feels like, I'm hoping that like right now it's just chill and eventually it's just going to start to fly.
Yeah.
Also, Mr. MC1 says, guys, please do show up tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Randy channel. Bobby has 500K followers and is a Grammy voting member and artist. Holy crap.
I
That's
would love
crazy.
to, but I'm sleeping at this time.
That's true. What time would that be for you? That's 2 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's in the middle of the night. Yeah.
I could show up. I have no excuses. So I'll make sure to be there.
Yeah.
The real Hanano says, I remember when Minecraft came out, I thought it was a joke. I was wrong. Veveverse reminds me of Minecraft with a MySpace twist. Ooh,
Yeah,
that's a
exactly.
cool insight right there.
Yeah. And I mean, Minecraft is so big, right? And
Yeah.
why shouldn't the Veveverse have the same potential? It comes all down to like community and people creating stuff. Because if you think about it, if there's only 10 spaces, yeah, okay, no one will go in there because it's lame after you visited all of them like twice or 3 times, right?
That's such a good point. Yeah. And like this is where it's just endless with what we're already seeing. So it's like this can be so much more fun to just let's jump in this place and that place. Stan has a question for you here, bro.
Yeah, I've already seen it, and it's the same superheroes as yours, I would say. So Spider-Man, Batman, Son Goku, etc. So it's the same ones in Germany.
Is there anything that's like unique? Like I know, for instance, like Japan is like Ultraman or like these things. Like, is there anything that you would say like is German specific that people like better, or no? Is it just kind of like typical?
Honestly, as I said before, I've
Yeah.
never been a collector, so I don't know. I'm not the right guy to ask this question.
Oh, that's all right, man. I feel like, it makes sense. These are universal characters. Like I know, for instance, Spider-Man is the most popular character
Yeah,
in 58 countries. So it's like, I'm imagining like Germany's probably assuming the same thing, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Will VV get German vehicles? That you definitely know because you guys got Mercedes, you got Audi, you got
Yeah, yeah,
BMW, you got
exactly.
some of the, you pretty much produce the best vehicles in the world, like especially for high-end vehicles. So
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
have to say I'm not sure if this will continue in the future. I think worldwide there are a lot of countries who catch up because I would say, yeah, of course, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, etc. They are well known, but will they be in 10, 15 years if like the German car industry doesn't evolve with new technologies as much as other car companies or car manufacturers? You know what I mean? Because German cars are quite expensive. And if you look on the Chinese market or the Japanese market, you can get really nice looking, and I'm not a car guy, but I would say high quality cars for way less money than, for example, an BMW or so.
You're totally right, man. I mean, that's this. We just bought a new vehicle, and like that was the exact thinking. Like, as much as I would love to have the nice BMW X7, like if you look at like some of Hyundai's, let's say, or like premium, you know, you're like 60K all in, you get everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's still the German cars are probably still better made and have better quality, but like, you know, if you're gonna save 45 grand, you know what I'm trying to say, you're right.
Yeah.
So a few more comments I want to share with you. So Mr. MC1 says, catch the show in the morning.
Yeah, I will definitely do that.
Yeah, good. IP is king. That's why we all love VV, all the IP.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Stan says, gives us the rocket. And
Trabant. Trabant, yeah, that would be a banger.
what's this?
It's a really, really old car in Germany. I don't even know if they still produce it. I don't think so. No, it's
really?
Yeah, no. But you can buy these. I think they're kind of valuable because they are so iconic and there are so few left.
Wow, that's actually funny. I didn't know what that meant, so I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah.
Chris says, let's go. I laughed at Minecraft as it looks like the Atari games I played as a kid, but then Atari is still the best. That's true. I still play N64. I prefer that over PS5. Like, I still play Legend of Zelda, Kong Racing. Like, you know what I mean? Like Mario Party, if we have friends over, Super Smash Bros. Do you play any games or no?
No, I'm not a gamer. I've never been.
Wow.
As I've said before, I've played like Roller Coaster Tycoon, Sims, and all that stuff, but not Diablo. I played Diablo, but that's it.
Yeah, nice. A few more comments. Sub Chad Mintalox tuning in here from the other channel. Good to see you, bro. And cool background with the frames. I know. I love your background. Man. And MC1 says the merch Yana's building is incredible. You should ask Yan to share his plans. Yeah, man. Tell it. I mean, your sweater you're wearing looks amazing. Like, look at me. I'm in an ugly.
But that's not from that's from Don Juan Solo. That's not my stuff. Yeah.
So what is that like?
But for example, the Marvel logo here in the back. Sanjay ordered 20 pieces of that for his Marvel logo group. So yeah, I mean, we will see. Because when I got into like physical collecting, I wanted to display it in an, let me say it, in an adult way. You know, kind of what I mean. In a more like
sophisticated.
Yeah, because at the moment you can buy these little plexi plastic glass. How is it called?
Frames? Like
no, not frames. Where you can put it just in.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. I don't know why it's slipping from my mind. Like, but it holds it. It's like a holder.
Yeah, exactly. A holder.
Yeah,
like these plastic holders, and I think they do their job, but they look kind of crappy.
Yeah. You're right. It lessens the experience. You're right, man. The way that you display something makes a huge difference, you know?
Yeah, and even if you think like, for example, the stuff I have is not really valuable because this is a reprint, by the way. That's not an original.
Yeah. Well, I figured that.
Yeah.
If you had that as a 9.8, I'd be like, holy crap.
Yeah. I would be balling.
100%. Yeah.
And yeah, I thought like, okay, I want to display my stuff, but in a more adult way and a more aesthetic way. Because if you think about some collections, they are worth so much money, and then you put it in a plastic holder.
Yeah.
No.
It's true.
And
You like,
also,
yeah.
I'm not sure if it's everywhere, but my girlfriend was like, okay, if you want to display these pieces, make them look good in our home. So yeah,
Okay. So the girlfriend's happy then.
yeah.
Okay, that's what matters. I actually tried to do that. Maybe I
Mhm.
should have called you first for advice, and my wife was like, "Get this shit out of here." So it's all like in boxes and
I,
stuff. But
I
you're
I
such
would say the chances are way higher if you display it in a cooler and nicer aesthetic way in
okay.
the couple relationship, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
I'll try it again if my daughter doesn't like rip it off the
Yeah,
counter or something. But
yeah,
it's good advice. This is actually a cool comment by Stan. He says, this guest isn't the usual Vivi person with his interest. Vivi needs him for a case study to attract people outside of Vivi's market. So like it is interesting, like because this whole thing with new users, you come here for a particular set of reasons, but it's almost like they need to do field testing or like understand like why people aren't coming in or why people are coming in, right? And like for instance, like I look at like somebody like Claire. I don't know if you know Claire. She's like
yeah. With the cosplay,
yeah, she the
yeah, that looks
H219.
really good. She does
Yeah,
amazing stuff. Yeah,
amazing, right? When I first joined Vivi, I got her on my channel and like we had a great chat and she was like immediately hooked. And I'm like, we need more Claires. First of all, we need more women. We need more different age
yeah.
groups. But it's like, it is interesting, like how difficult it is to probably understand somebody's user journey and why they decide to stick with Vivi or not. Right. So I think that was actually an interesting comment. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
I would say everybody has their own reasons. As I said in the beginning, my first reason was because I thought I could make a quick buck. It
Yeah.
was honestly, it was just the reason because I've never been a collector. So for me, it was about the money at the beginning. And then I've learned to love community, learned to love collecting, etc. Because as I said earlier, I've opened up my channel because I wanted to be like a valuable part of the community. And also, I think there will be like a lot of people like me who don't know a lot about collecting. And
Mm.
on the other hand, we have so many absolutely knowledgeable collectors in our community that need to share their wisdom about collecting, if you know.
Right. And you
Yeah.
want to give them that platform as well.
Exactly. And also, I wanted to learn.
Yeah.
I've connected with so many great people and I've learned so much about collecting that I've otherwise probably would never learn.
Yeah. And has that applied outside of the digital market as well? Like, are you collecting anything physical now? Like other than the
Just,
stuff you
just,
hinted?
just a couple of pieces. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm more into the digital collecting, but I have to say my collection is still small. I have like comics and collectibles. I have 250 pieces maybe.
It's pretty good
Oh,
though.
yeah, but compared to other collections, it's really small.
Yeah. Well, I know when I see some of those guys like in first place, second place, I'm like, holy, it's like, tens of thousands, right?
Yeah,
This is a cool comment. Real Hinano says, simple still works. We just need to make it fun and engaging. About 85% of my daughter's allowance goes to digital products and services like Minecraft and Roblox. So like, how cool is that, right? Like that these kids now that are like, I don't know how old their daughter is, but let's say, 6 to 10 years old, or like maybe a youth like 10 to 12,
yeah.
in 20 years, like maybe this is going to be everything that they're doing in terms of investing or like, you know what I mean? Because this is where they're at right now. They're
Yeah,
learning.
and it's way more fun than just buying stocks also, right?
It's way more fun,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Guru says, as a product manager, I see companies create personas for their prospective customers, but they never revisit or review them again. They create the personas and then they build no new personas. That's interesting. So maybe because of the way that the market shifted, like I feel like that whole transition from NFT to saying digital collectible was a smart move because a lot of people got turned off from
yeah.
NFTs. But like I do think this is interesting. It's like to go back and understand like where the new prospective markets are right now.
I think it's really important to educate people. So because what really got me hooked was also like the fact that you can own something digital for the first time. And we have to be honest here, the world becomes more digital every day. And so in my thought process, digital goods will be valuable. The right digital goods, right? So because in the last bull run there were so many PvP projects, and they will never come back.
It's
Most
true.
of them. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, listen, I just want to say, thanks for coming on today, brother. I know we're both busy guys. I want to apologize to you as well on camera because for 2 times I tried to set up an interview and I bailed and I was like, oh, my daughter, she was up all last night. I slept like an hour. Like, can you do this day? And then I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. So I appreciate your patience and I really appreciate all your insight. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to Collectably yet, do that right now in the description and follow Yan Collects on X. And both are in the description. And I'll give the final words to you, brother.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, man. It was a pleasure. I really love chatting about all that stuff. And I think what we do here, I mean, we are both kind of speculating or talking about where things might go, what we think about. And I think that's part of like the starting to grow, like the excitement again, maybe, right? So that people have something to talk about and discuss about and all that stuff. And I think the chances that Vivi has a really promising future ahead are definitely really big. So yeah, thanks for everybody who've tuned in today and listened to our conversation. I really appreciated that, and I think we should do that again.
Dude, I would love to have you back on, man. And, maybe even get a big group of us. And I want to meet some of your German friends too, that you've been, shouting out in the comments. So
yeah.
Thank you so much, boss. That was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we could maybe we could do an episode if Felix is down, because honestly, he is so knowledgeable about the MCP program. You should talk to him about it.
Dude,
so last shout out for Felix at this point.
Yeah, Felix, you have to come on now. It's a guarantee. Yeah.
So yeah, see you guys, and thanks, Chad.
Thank you, brother. Talk soon, guys. All the best.